Over the past 2 seasons, I've skied everything from hard pack groomers to deep powder, and I've been able to progress my skiing so much. So that begs the question, are these the best all-mountain skis?
Alright, so the first thing we're going to talk about is just the overall build quality. So I've skied on them for 2 years. My bases are actually really good. I never really used these on days where there was like marginal conditions and where there was rocks sticking out. Yeah, so no real core shots, just a couple very minor like scratches here, but edges are good as well. The only complaints with the durability is just from the top sheet. As you can see, there's quite a bit of just chipping and peeling off, especially on the sides here. I can show you some, on the sides here. But the overall edge is still good, so it really doesn't matter that much. It's just kind of the appearance. But to be honest, it's probably just expected after using them for so long. Overall, they've held up and they're still very skiable. It's just kind of how it looks. I'll give it a 4 out of 5 for durability. I thought I'd also mention just the kind of bindings I have on them. So I have the Look Grip Walk bindings. They're kind of just like the entry-level all-mountain binding. Been fine. I don't really know what a better binding would improve on. I haven't really had any issues with them popping off. But definitely on my next pair of skis, I would love to get a pair of those Look Pivot bindings, especially like the green ones. I think those look so cool. So yeah, that's that. So now let's talk about the stiffness of the skis. So if you don't know, the whole Volkl Revolt line is kind of targeted for that all mountain / kind of park ski. So the one kind of complaint that a lot of people have with these skis is when they want to use them just for park, they are a bit stiff. They are pretty stiff. So doing some butters and stuff isn't the easiest to do. I still found it like possible. You can still like pop some butters and nose butters or whatever. But the benefit of having the slightly more stiff ski is that they're not just one dimensional and you can really use them throughout the whole mountain. So like I said at the beginning of the video, I've skied everything from deep powder to hard pack groomers with these skis, and they've really held up. And yeah, especially just with the hard pack, the added stiffness of the ski really allows it to, hold an edge and really grip the turns well and not have you just slipping out. For an overall park ski stiffness, maybe I'd give it like a 3 out of 5. But for myself, I'd give it like a 4.5 just because I don't do straight park. I like kind of do the whole all mountain thing. So staying on the topic of park skiing, I'll just talk about the park performance for these skis. Now I'll be the first to say I am not a big park skier, or at least I'm not at the moment. Though this season I really want to get into it. But I went into the park a couple times towards the end of the last season, and for that they held up well. And I know these are well regarded in the park skiing community. So overall for park, I would say like a 4 out of 5. Yeah, the little bit of park I did do, they really did hold up. But on the more kind of all mountain, kind of freestyle kind of skiing, I do try to like jump around a lot and try little 180s and grabs off this little side hits. And for those, these have been incredible. I'll just talk about the overall kind of powder performance of these skis. 95 millimeters underfoot. They're a bit wider at the nose, but not too much. I had a couple good days, especially not last season, but the season before that. As you know, last season wasn't great. But the season before that, I had a couple good days with quite a bit of fresh snow, and these did hold up pretty well. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it and say that certain times I would have liked a slightly wider ski. Like 95 millimeters is not that wide, but it's wide enough where you're not going to be totally sinking. Obviously a ski that's 100, 110, 120 would have performed maybe a little bit better, especially if you're skiing just kind of not super deep fresh snow, maybe a couple centimeters. These were great for that kind of stuff. I had quite a few of those kind of days this season with maybe like a 5 to 10 centimeter dump. And these skis, yeah, held up super well for that. Good amount of float. Overall, yeah, I give the powder performance a 3.9 out of 5. So now let's just talk about the overall design and the looks of the ski. I really like how Volkl designed these skis. They have a unique look to them. This is what the bases look like. They have like this cool print on them. And the top sheet, a little bit more basic. It's that kind of basic white and blue, but I think they still look really cool. And the kind of noses of the skis are unique. A lot of skis these days are switching to kind of like a flat nose. So still having that round nose, I think looks pretty cool. Yes, this is what kind of the tails look like. And they also have on the tail kind of just information about the skis, kind of cool. It says how long they are, the width. But I'm not gonna lie and say they're the coolest looking skis. There's definitely some brands that make some really cool skis out there. Sponsor me. So overall for looks, I gave maybe like a 3 out of 5, but does the job. All right, so we talked about the powder, so now we're just gonna talk about the off-piste and kind of tree skiing. So these skis are a bit small for me. So overall for groomers, you probably want a slightly longer ski, but I prefer kind of staying on the off-piste, and I love doing tree skiing. And for that style of skiing, these have been great. The maneuverability, and especially when there's kind of like moguls through the trees, these really held up super well. So for off-piste and trees, I would honestly give these a solid 4.6 out of 5. So who are these skis kind of for? So I think these skis would be great for anyone who's really looking to get into park, and especially someone who has a lot of skiing experience maybe outside of park and doesn't want to ski that's really like just straight park. Something they can take into the park, but still, you know, they don't have to spend the whole day in the park, and they can a ski that'll allow you to ski the whole mountain no matter the conditions. There's obviously better skis for separate categories. You can obviously get a much better powder ski, a much better park ski, a much better carving ski. But overall, I really think these, if you have to buy just a one ski to do it all, the Volkl Revolt 95 is really up there. Now, please let me know what you think of my opinion on these skis. If you've also tried the Volkl Revolt 95, make sure to let me know. Or if you tried similar skis that are like these that you think are better, also let me know in the comments down below. And I'm out. Peace.